everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. Probably most of you can hear that I sound a little raspy, and I had made a post on our Facebook group, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin', stating that I had been under the weather. That's the reason there were no videos last week. I didn't have my voice, and I am on the mend, even though I do still sound very raspy. I wanted to bring this card to y'all today, and I'm going to show you how we made it. This is with a new set called Shepherd's Care, and I love the way this turned out. It's a very simplistic card, but I used a couple of different techniques, and I think you might enjoy something similar to this. So we're going to get started, but before we do, I want to let y'all know about a few things that's going on. I do have to have surgery on my sinuses. I do not have a date yet, but I will keep you posted as to when. I am on antibiotics, so hopefully that will help clear up some of this infection prior to my surgery date. The other thing, there is actually a stamp sale going on. It starts on Monday, October the 7th, and it runs through Wednesday, October the 9th. It's 15% off of all the stamp sets. And it does not include the bundles, which are the dies and the punches, but just the stamp set. So if you've had your eye on something. Also, they're running another special for people that want to join. You don't have to do a thing. You'll pay your $99, no shipping. You're just your local tax, so it'd be $99 plus whatever your sales tax in your state. And you can pick out $155 worth of product, and that's online exclusives, the mini catalog, or the annual catalog. So it gives you a lot of choices. So keep that in mind for the month of October. Those are the promotions that are going on. So now, without any further ado, let's get busy and make our card. Like I said, this stamp set is so cute, and you can see I've got quite a few of the stamps out. I only have 2 that I left in because everything else I have already on a block. Let's do some cutting first. So I'm going to lay this over. I want my card base to be this crumb cake. And I'm going to put it in on the 11-inch side, and I'm going to line it up to 5.5 right here. So right over to 5.5 and slice up. This is going to give me my card base. I'm also going to need half a sheet of this, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half on the 8.5-inch side at 4 1/4. That'll give me my pieces for inside. And then I'm going to need to cut this piece at, let me measure because I can't remember. This is 3.5 by 4 3/4. So 3.5 by 4 3/4. Okay, and this is going to be our piece that's going to mat on the front of our card. But we need to do a little stamping. So let's go ahead and get all of our stamping done first. I'm going to start out with my Whisper White. And the reason I want to start out with that first, I want to put down snowflakes. If you noticed with this card, I've got, it looks like either snowflakes or just stars everywhere. That's what I want to happen here. And there's a stamp in that set that can give you that look. So whenever you're inking up to do something like this, just be really careful and try not to get it on the edges of the stamp, because that sometimes can transfer over onto your actual piece, and we don't want that. So I'm going to start up here at the top, and I'm just going to turn, let's see, maybe here, maybe right here. There's really no rhyme or reason how you put these down. You just want a good coverage all up and down your piece of cardstock. I think that right there is probably sufficient. So, and see what I mean about getting ink on the edges? It's real easy to do. And sometimes if you rock your stamp, that will show through on your piece, and we definitely don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the stamp off real quick. And I'm using the Stampin' Scrub. I love this thing. I'm going to just activate it with a little bit squirt of water. And then we're going to take this in. And you wash it on one side and dry it on the other. And it comes out beautifully clean every time. Love the Stampin' Scrub. If you do not have one of those, you're really missing a treat. All right, the next thing I need to do is I want to stamp my shepherd. And this is a big stamp. So we're gonna try something a little bit different with it. I'm gonna take my large black memento because we're gonna color him with the alcohol blends. So I'm gonna use my big one that I made with the memento. And I think I've told y'all that before. I bought a blank pad. It says Whisper White on it, but it's not. And I filled it with the memento ink re-inker. And I love the depth of color that I get with this. Can you see how easy it was to ink that up? So now I'm going to sit this down right here. Let that ink transfer. What a gorgeous, gorgeous stamp. I love that. And when we color it, it's going to be even more dramatic. So again, I'm going to clean and dry. Looks like I could use a little bit more. And these pads come out. You can take them out and take them to the sink and wash them with dish detergent and then put them back together. So that's another great thing. That thing will last forever. All right, now that I got this done, let's do a little coloring. And I'm going to use Boho Glue and Ivory. So just these 5 colors. That's my ivory. I'm going to do that for the sheet. And the blue, I want to do his headpiece out of the blue. So I'm going to take my light blue and I'm just going to start coloring. Like that. And then we're ready to fussy cut this. And you probably, the only drawback, this stamp set does not have dies. So we will need to fussy cut, but it's not hard because it's a fairly simple, I'll do my scissors, here they are. These are our paper snips and they're wonderful for fussy cutting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right across the top, make this piece a little smaller. And then I'm going to start right here and I'm going to start just following the edge of the design. And you just want to work it in and out around those pieces. And just always know it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you're getting it trimmed out, don't make it so hard on yourself that you can't enjoy doing this because you really don't have to be a perfectionist. And I'm going to show you a trick that you can do. And there we have that completely cut out and ready to go. Now here's the trick. if you got white that's showing, and I do have a little bit, you can see when I lay it on this, there's a little white showing. Get yourself one of the Stampin' Right black marker, and you can buy these by themselves without buying the whole set, only the black one, and take it and go hold it with the point up toward you. You don't want to do it this way, you want to do it this way, and go across that line, and it will knock that white back and make it look like you have a perfect cut when in actuality you don't. Oops, wrong way. And then that helps give you a much cleaner edge when you just did it with a marker. So, all right, now we need to do some prepping on this piece. And we are going to use some embossing powder. So I'm going to grab my Versamark watermark ink. And this is just a sticky ink that allows you to put embossing powder down on it and get a beautiful image. And I'm doing the star. And I don't think it matters which way we stamp the star. I'll let that sit there just for a moment. And I'm going to grab my little essential kit. I need my embossing buddy and maybe my tweezers. And I'm going to prep this piece of paper so I don't get no static or oil from my fingers or anything is going to cause that embossing powder to stick where I don't want it. So I'm going to go over it with this. And then we're going to take our star. I keep thinking it should go one way or the other, and yet it doesn't seem to matter. So I want my star up in the top right corner. I'm going to let it sit there just for a minute to transfer that ink. Oh, it's so pretty. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. So, so sorry about the coughing. We are going to grab our gold embossing powder because I think the star is extra special. I'm so sorry about the sneezing and the coughing. Please forgive me. Anyway, I'm going to put this over and I'm going to get that off. While I still have this piece out, I am going to take the piece on earth. And I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. Sorry. And I want it to go right about here. Very pretty. And this is going to allow us to heat set both of these at the same time. Doesn't look like much right now, but once we melt using the heat tool, we'll melt this embossing powder onto our card base and it is going to be beautiful. So I'm going to lay this. Actually, I don't want to lay it. I want to use my tweezers so I can hold on to it like that. And this is our heat tool. This is the Stampin' Up! Heat tool. It has two settings, 1 and 2. Anytime you're heat embossing, always use number 2. So I'm going to turn it on and let it heat up for about 30 seconds, and then we will set this. And there we go. That is all heat set and sparkly like I wanted it. And I couldn't be happier with the way this turned out. So now I'm just going to take my I had someone ask me about this brush. This is not a Stampin' Up! Product. This is actually put out by Nuvo, and it's called the Clean Sweep. And I have a link for it. So if anyone's interested, I will send you the link for this. And it is so nice because I can brush off the embossing buddy powder and anything that might be in, like if you get some embossing powder on your work surface and you just want to brush it away, this thing is wonderful. I love it. But in your essential kit, you do get your tweezers, you get a brush, you get a tray, and your embossing buddy. So it is a very neat essentials pack that Stampin' Up! Has for embossing. But I just keep mine in here like that. This makes it simple and easy. All right, so now we have our shepherd. And I want him over off of the side like that. Love this. Actually, maybe even down a little bit. Let's go ahead and mark this piece. And when I say mark, I mean score. So I'm going to grab my scoreboard. This is the Simply Scored scoring tool. And I am going to put my piece of cardstock in on the 8.5-inch side, and I'm going to score it right there at 4 1/4. So right in half. And give it a good fold. Once we get this done, we're going to use our bone folder and we're going to crease this down nice and tight. And I like to do it on both sides just to make sure I got a good fold. So now we're ready to lay this piece onto our card base. So this is our front mat. And I'm going to use some liquid glue. I haven't been in my craft room for a week because I was so under the weather, but I probably will need to prime this. We'll see. See if it comes out. Oh, it's coming out. That shocked me, but I'm glad it did. Love this little gun. And you can use any of your glues in it. It works really well. You get an empty bottle with it when you buy it. Okay, we're going to set this down right about here. Give that a good press. And now I can put him right there at the corner. We're going to pop our shepherd up on some dimensionals. And I want enough of dimensionals to hold him. If he's going through the mail, I want him to hold up to get to the recipient. So I'm not skimping too much on my dimensionals. And then I want to set him I want to make sure the edge of the bottom is on the card. Like that. Isn't that gorgeous? So, so pretty, and yet so simple. Now we're going to need a blue mat. So I have a piece of blue left over, and we need that piece of crumb cake. So these are going to be for our mat for the inside. So for the inside, what I want to do first is go ahead and cut this piece down to 4 by 5 1/4. So get my trusty little trimmer, and we're going to go 4 and 5 1/4. And this piece, I'm going to cut it the same way. I'm going to do 4 by 5 1/4 on it. But we're also going to tear this to give it a very rustic look. So whenever I tear cardstock, I like to tear it toward me. So I'm gonna take this piece and I'm just gonna tear it back and forth to give it a real ratty, sort of a raggedy look. I want it to look very rustic, worn and torn. Just keep working it back and forth, like that. Get to the bottom, you can turn it, do the same thing. Just keep tearing it just to give it that extra rough feel. Again, you want it to be, I keep pulling it to me rather than keeping it here. You want it to be as rustic looking as you can get it. So it, you want it kind of messy. Like that. Isn't that just perfect? So now what we need to do is we need to stamp on this piece. You see, here's the other one I did. Pretty much the same, but maybe a little bit different. Yeah, something like that. So what I want to do now is I want to stamp my message. And this one says, praying that you will feel the Good Shepherd's care in this season and throughout the coming year. I love that sentiment. It's so pretty. And I'm going to do it in early espresso. So I'm going to ink that up and then come in right about here. Give it a good press. And then I have the little city, and I want it sitting down here. And I'm going to do it in early espresso as well. And I wasn't pleased with the star that I did on the other one, so I may look for a star. Um, yeah, Decorative Trees has a star, and I think I'm going to do that one because it's a small star, but I think this will give me what I want right here. And we're going to heat set that because I want that star to be gold. All right, so I think we got this. This one, I just didn't care for it. I don't think it looked, let me show you what I'm talking about. See, it just looks like a blob, and I didn't want that. I wanted it to look like an actual star. So let's move those out of our way. Get my Versamark ink back out again. And a tiny stamp block. And I'm going to ink this up. I do need to prep my surface. And I like the contrast between the old weathered look and the star that pointed everyone to Bethlehem. I think that just really screams what Christmas really is about. It was the greatest gift ever given. And this set is such a good set that kind of brings your mind back to that. Okay, I'm going to heat set this and we'll be right back together. That was quick because the gun had already heated. It didn't take long for that to work for me. So I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to actually use some Stampin' Seal on the back of this. And then this is going to go on here. Like so. And then this whole piece will go glue in right here. And we're going to do that with some glue. And there is our beautiful card that we made, and look at the beauty of this. And if you wanted to put some more embellishments on it, some sequins or some little diamonds, you could, but I think this card is perfect just the way it is. I love the way it turned out. I love this torn look on the inside, and I really think I like this star better than I did this one. I really, really think that it just shows up much better. I mean, you can be the judge, but I think I like this shape. I wish we had a little one like that to have used, but the stamp set didn't come with that, so I improvised. But I just want to thank y'all so much for tuning in. And I do thank each and every one of you for the grace that you gave me during this past week when I was out. Between the hurricane that came through, being without power for a couple of days, to coming down sick, it was not a very good week. But like I said, I did get in with my ENT, and the sinus infection was back again after I had gone through a round of antibiotic. So what he said at this point, he needs to go into that sinus cavity, pretty much scrape out all of the infection and get me started over. So he's going to order me a nose spray that's a saline nose spray, but infused with antibiotics. So I'll be able to keep that up into that sinus cavity and hopefully do away with having these uh, terrible sinus infections. But anyway, my voice is getting more um, grovelly as I go, so I'm going to close out my video. Know that you are loved and know that you are always in my thoughts and prayers. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring honor and glory to our Savior Jesus. He is worthy. Until next time, God bless and keep you. Bye bye.